This time the search brings us to the Front Range here in Colorado, to the town of Boulder. It's often nicknamed the People's Republic of Boulder because it's known for being one of the most progressive places in America. Let's see what they have to say. First question is, what do you think is the core reason that our government right now seems more responsive to powerful individuals and corporations rather than to just average people?
If I'm being honest, I think it's something in humans. I think we are greedy people, and I don't think that means that everyone is bad and greedy in that way. I don't think, everyone, even good people, are greedy sometimes, but
It's true.
I think some people just let it infect them, and I don't know, it's beyond belief sometimes how evil they are.
I'd be a little above my pay grade, but I can definitely take a stab at it.
Well, it's all about opinions.
I think it's all about the money, which,
Oh, the money.
I know. I don't know if you like that or you don't have to love it, but it seems like that's what it's about.
Greed.
What do you think's the source on that?
Humans.
I think the dark triad. I think it's the dark triad of personality,
What does that mean?
like psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism. I think that is like where people want to source their power from. So that's my answer.
Going for
They have money. That's mainly it. They have money, and not everyone does.
Fear.
creating fear?
Maybe having fear and then living in reaction to fear and trying to grasp onto something that feels more empowering than where they're at, where most people currently sit today.
Okay, so you're seeing this from the people's perspective.
Yeah. From the
Extrapolate on
individuals.
that for me.
Well, they're just individuals. Everybody's humans, and we're all living in a human experience right now. We're all having a lot of fear because we don't really know where anything's going at this point. Probably feeling pretty disempowered and acting from places of hurts and not really knowing who we are as individuals, as humans, and really connecting to our heart, knowing that we're much more powerful than just the beings that we're pretending to be right here.
Well, because some liars got a bunch of people, and some people promised some of the voters things that they couldn't give them. They promised them so much. There is I think, part of the citizenry who would not give the corporations that much power, who would not give the bad folks that much power. But we had a very nefarious group of people put in Citizens United, and all the money that's going towards that, power begets power. But with centralization of power and tools, some very powerful people, even a minority, can mess things up majorly.
Well, it fundamentally comes down to the fact that we used to have a system of checks and balances. That concept, born of the founding fathers, is something that was kind of imbued into the people. Now, I didn't live back then, but we can only look back and see that happen. And as time has progressed, especially in the last century, you've seen those checks and balances tend to erode. And in fact, like, you take a look at all the government people now going into corporate jobs, corporate people going into government jobs. That was the beginning of the end. And that's just become more extreme and perverted. And I think that if you look at just things in general, you're looking at a more extremist vision of everything.
I mean, I think the main reason is probably like Citizens United and just the fact that large corporations can donate any amount of money that they want. But also, I think large corporations have gotten better at sort of monopolizing industries, which allows them to exercise more power.
Well, it's a natural thing that we've been keeping giving more and more power to the government, and the powerful are going to get control of it. That happens in every organization and every government. It's always been that way and will always be that way towards a more corrupt environment. That's why the original idea was to decentralize the power, not have it concentrated in one location, one leadership.
Hands of a few.
The power back to the people. That's what the original Republican idea was, is keeping the power back in the states and not giving it to the federal government. But once we start federalizing everything, what do you expect? You're going to have corruption, period.
Interesting.
Can't help but have it. And both sides of the aisle are very corrupt people.
Because they're trying to snuff us all out and turn this whole world into a corporate world, like with no humans. It's just the rich and famous. They get to rule everything and run everything.
Do you think that's been a problem since the beginning, or has this developed over time?
This is something that's developed over time.
No, it's been a problem
And it's
since
been Wes, I'm not asking for your input. This is my.
He's asking for everyone.
You're on the wrong side of the camera.
So there is.
There you go. Now they can have a debate about it.
But there is a few, like there was a few presidents that didn't really care if it was richer people or poorer people. They would just like listen to everyone's voice. But it's just been something that's.
I mean, I think it's always been a state of U.S. government that, you know, they listen to large corporations, especially when it comes to like the military-industrial complex. That's been our
Right.
But, you know, I do think it's gotten worse recently.
Well, because of social media and the misunderstanding of properly how to do it on the good side, possibly, and not knowing how to deal with consistent lying and promises, and a very distracted citizenry. If they just see a lot of promises and such, and they just say, you're going to get everything, you're going to be rich, I'm going to make, and they see that that's a wonderful and proud way to be,
Yeah.
I think that kind of continuous brainwashing, let's be kind to each other, let's grow gardens, let's ride bikes, let's volunteer and such, it's just way outnumbered by the amount that says, you buy this drink, you'll be able to fly to the moon, and you'll fall in love, and you'll be all powerful.
I think that's been part of the human experience for a long time. I think it's what a lot of the masters have come to talk to us about. The people like Buddha and Jesus,
Yeah.
Dalai Lama, and they come to say, hey, we're here to have more peace, more love, more joy. And that's always been the answer, and I think sometimes we have a hard time because of the way that we've been trained as humans to experience this world. We separate ourselves from nature, and we separate ourselves from being part of that bigger equation. Mm-hmm. And so we're just reacting to those things that are passed down from generation to generation. I don't think it's changed a lot. We're just seeing a lot more in the media. We're seeing a lot more because of the way people's desires are wanting to express more genuine ways, and we don't really have any answers to this, to how we do that. We don't have any great masters to teach us how to do that anymore.
Right.
Well, there were weaknesses. Obviously, the gerrymandering of congressional districts was a major weakness in our system. The other weakness was what we're seeing now in the federal government is that you have a coalition of people who take control of all three branches of the government, and they want strong leadership. They're going to give her power, and they're going to give it, so they do that. So that's another weakness. And obviously, three branches of government are supposedly independent, but they're not.
Right.
They've all been taken, co-opted by one person, basically, and one way of thinking.
So what about at the top? Who thinks, really in control right now, and what are they doing to maintain their power?
I don't think there really is any one individual in power. I think it's a mindset that's in power, and I think the she, the green, is the false idol that we're all sort of giving our. When we have that, and we could be happy, and we can be loved. I think if you were to step back and take a perspective on what money represents, it's really just an exchange of energy. And the energy that's being exchanged right now is very much an extractive energy. And money doesn't mean to be that, but it's just the way that we've interpreted it. So I think it's a mindset that's in control.
It's hard to say. Because, I feel like right now there's such a divide. And
There's a lot of people in power. There's a lot of people that hold the money.
We've all been conditioned, trained, programmed, like Pavlov's dog, a ringing of a bell producing salivating, we have words producing emotions, and we've all been conditioned with that historically, and various institutions do it. Religious institutions are always conditioning us to certain ways of thinking, and we are not encouraged to question that thinking and looking at it. And these institutions, religious institutions, are about propaganda, indoctrinating people. And so they indoctrinate people to want a strong leader. You have to have somebody else come and save you. And so when those people support and vote for somebody like our current illustrious demigod in chief.
The CEOs that are behind this thing, you know, something 2 or 3% of the CEOs are probably sociopathic. I think 1% or 0.5% of the population generally is, but there are some people who are addicted to power and money, right. And corporations allow that, enable that, and so I'd say, you know, because corporations can do so much across our whole society, more than individuals, once they get the momentum, once they get the power, that unfortunately we're empowering those people who are greedy and will take anyone down, but they have tools to drain people in ways that an ethical person, an ethical part of our society would not do.
I mean, it's money. Money's in power. I think that's what it is. Like, people, if you make money, you have more power. It's that simple.
Money. Anyone with money. You have enough money, you have power. It's not one person, it's a community.
Well, I know Trump is in power right now, but he's controlling everything and trying to control everyone, and he's doing wars. And I don't like wars.
What do you think?
I think we need world peace. That's what I think.
I don't think we'll ever know. I think that who we see in power right now have been set up there. I don't think they're the ones that are actually in control. I think they're the ones who take the fall. The ones who are really in control will never see it.
So they're behind the curtain.
I genuinely have no idea. There's no tinfoil hat for me. It could be anything. It could be people. Right. It could be aliens. It could be a certain sect of humans. I don't know.
I think it's hard to say because, again, with how evil it is, the Epstein stuff, I never could have pictured that. So it's that's the stuff we know about. So the stuff we don't know about has to be 1,000 times worse. It's what are they doing? They could be literally planning to just fucking turn this into a military state any moment. We wouldn't even know.
Besides just voting every couple of years, is there something we could do that would shift more power to the people in between the elections?
I would go to jail if I said what to do. So I'll keep that to myself.
All right.
It's really through our dollar and how we vote that way. Right. That's pretty much it. And even if we do vote for certain people, I'm of the belief it's two sides of the same coin. There's one side that feigns incompetence and one side that's corrupt. They're both corrupt. One's more obvious about it, one's overt, and one's covert. Yeah. So I think it's the idea that, the system has probably always been this way. It's more extreme than it's ever been.
It's called revolution. That worked before. It's going to have to happen again, unfortunately, because we're stuck. We're like in an infinite loop in the computer. The only way to get out is to reboot the computer. We need to reboot the country.
Extrapolate on that. What's that going to take?
Constitutional Congress probably wouldn't work because the power elites, all the rich people, are then going to take control of that. So it's going to have to come down to, the system's broken. It's completely broken. And you're not going to fix it.
We have to empower ourselves. We have to actually figure out who we are as people, and government is just a reflection of who we are as individuals. So if we have stronger mindsets, we have more power, we have more autonomy into how we want to live our lives. If we don't give our power to CNN or Fox News, we're
right.
Anybody outside of ourselves. So I think we work in our local communities, work with ourselves. We help each other learn what it's like to be fully empowered as a human being. Let go of our own drama, What resists persists.
It will be a never-ending work that we do where every day each one of us has to speak out and dare others to do the right thing in public and not be embarrassed. Sometimes the good people aren't the loudest people because they're kind. But
Right.
we have to teach, I think, the kind people to be louder and stand in public and say and yell out.
I also think some people are like might be afraid to say like their true opinion, so they go with what they think is like the majority of like or what would be correct,
Right.
and then like in speaking, but then not actually like act on that with anything that would benefit the group.
Power concentrates at the top, and the most wealthy control a lot of the policy. So, is there one way, one law we could pass that would create a shift that would allow workers and small businesses to be able to compete with these giant corporations?
If we had actually did trust busting that they did 100 years ago, we actually did trust busting. If a company got to be too big, they would break it up. Ma Bell was the last one I remember actually being done. Baby bells were all created, and that created great services. We're not doing the trust busting. We don't have that, and particularly when you have people like we have that are in charge now. They're not going to bust. They're going to give all their power, do everything they can to help this organization.
I think there's a lot of reform we could make, like overturning Citizens United. That could help, and part of it is like strengthening organizations like the FTC, the SEC, to like prevent these monopolies from happening in the first place. I think that's part of it, and part of it is just making things more affordable, which I think helps people start a business, etc., and compete with larger corporations.
I don't know if there is truly a way with how massive the corporations are and how massive the wealth of these billionaires are. I don't think anything short of a revolution is going to change shit, to be honest. I think we're not there yet because not enough people in some parts of the population are feeling as threatened as others.
Right?
So I think, but with how evil the government is, they will eventually come for everyone, right? That's how it's always worked. They come for the Jews and they come for the blacks, that's what they say. And it's true. But once they start coming for more of the population, I think eventually we'll reach a tipping point where someone, and then someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else is like, we can't fucking do this anymore. But the problem is we can't force that, I've also talked to people who are like, oh, well, it's time now. We have to do something now. It's like, yeah, but people have done things now. People have self-immolated in front of buildings. People have fucking started riots. Like, what is changing? Fucking nothing. So it's like, we have to be strong, but we also have to be patient. It's not about necessarily waiting and just biding our time. It's preparing ourselves for the moment when things get shitty and crazy and awesome at the same time,
Every time there is a law created, every time there is a motion passed, the people who have power skirt around it, figure out ways to get by, don't follow it, and they play by a different set of rules. To think that we can talk our way to peace, to think that we can just use influence, shame, anything, that's not going to happen. Actions have to really happen. I don't know what those actions are, but those are going to be louder than words, and a bill is a law, which are just words.
What do you think people misunderstand about how power actually works?
I think a lot of people grow up thinking the American dream is that anyone can be in that position,
Right.
Anyone can be powerful. And yes, anyone can have a certain amount of power, but unless you have certain advantages, you're not going to be at the top ever. And there's just a small group of people, a tiny group of people who will always be at the top. And not enough people get that. People think, oh, well, we can take them down. I would love if that shit made a difference. It just doesn't yet. It sucks.
That they don't realize that they're being manipulated even when they don't think so. Ad after ad after ad, and message after message wears the person down, and they don't even know that they said, oh, I can't make that much of a difference. It doesn't call upon the citizenry enough to say, hey, we need the kind people to take a stand and to be loud. The kind people to be brave, even though it's inconvenient, even though it's not right. The only way is to get the kind people to stand and to walk. We need to empower those awesome, heartfelt, ethical, universal ethical principles. They're out there.
Can you think of the best example of civilization where that's been the case, where it's accountable to the people, present or past?
There have been societies of historical context where the masculine and feminine have been fully integrated. So we work with the feminine energy. We understand that that's the beauty of nature. The masculine is working in alignment with that, so we're fully combined. So there have been plenty of traditions within human history where we've had that. We just don't talk about it a lot. So you say some of the ancient traditions in India and Peru, even some of the native traditions here have lived in alignment with nature, lived in alignment with self. I think we're just moving back to that right now.
JFK, I mean, I don't know enough about him, but from what I've heard, like, he was a pretty decent president, and I think that's why they killed him, you know? I don't think anyone's ever been good in government, actually. I think government is shitty.
I can only imagine there has to be something, right? But like the problem is I've only existed in this time. So I don't know. I assume the answer is yes, but only for how long? So I mean, yes, there has been fairness. Yes, there's been things that have been just. Yes, the system has worked. It's not as it has or hasn't worked. It's for how long has it worked for.
Do you think technology or social media could help us to turn things around?
I do think so, and I do think that there is a decent amount of people trying to make social media as a way to get petitions signed and help
Social media as a reference.
Yeah. But in some ways it can only do so much, because it is, I mean, when you are a social media influencer, you can only help so many people, like, change their mind. And
We're at an interesting stage of technology and, like, use of AI and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, it's just something new that we're approaching.
I mean, it's way easier to build a movement, right? Like, you know, I mean, that comes with drawbacks as well, but things like Black Lives Matter, Pride are like way more prevalent because of social media, right? Like that was the whole thing.
Spread much wider, much faster.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's part of it. I also think when it comes to technology, like, you know, just being able to find like-minded people is much easier. So I guess that's some ways. But I also do think that, like, just sticking to technology doesn't work. You know, like you ultimately do have to do something material to change your circumstance.
It can actually help us a lot if we're empowered to use it in a way that we can look at some of the tasks that we're doing today that really aren't necessarily creative in nature. They're important that our economy is going to, our way of working, our way of working with science, of working with the planet, is going to continue to grow. Our understanding of how it's going to work is incredible. I think technology can be a huge boon to that. It can be something that we can actually create a whole ecosystem of ways of being together, where the human role in that space is to be more empowered, to be wise, to live the human experience on Earth, to bring nature together, to bring plants together, to bring us all in alignment. And technology can be a great enabler.
Now, if that were implemented, how long would it take for people to see results, and what do you think they'd notice first?
It would probably happen fairly quickly, especially now, because both parties are like so unpopular amongst even like their own base.
Right.
Like, I think both parties would fracture pretty quickly, so I think we'd see results in a few years. And I think they would notice it by, you know, like you're not just getting the same sort of cookie cutter Republican or liberal in every single district.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that would be a good thing. I think that would happen pretty fast.
One generation.
One generation?
Raise one generation.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah. One generation that's fully, my granddaughter's 3, so I'm really invested in this whole conversation. I really work with my son a lot because I'm doing my own work around what it means to actually raise a child who has a full alignment and a full awareness of who they are as an individual. We don't sit our emotions down. We actually learn how to work. And so I'm really cognizant of allowing her to be who she is, but also recognizing that when she's being who she is, it has an impact on other people. So we raise a generation of kids who don't have to go through the deprogramming that we went through.
Right.
And they're going to have a lot more creativity, a lot more flow, a lot more answers. And we even have capacity to. Our only job is just to reinvest in the younger people. Let them be who they are. Let them be the wise elders that they're going to become.
Well, if you were If you were president for a day, you could write any one law, what would you put on paper and sign to help out the people?
If I were president for one day, I would then resign and make Bernie Sanders president. That's probably the best thing I could do. The only reason is because I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like America truly had an opportunity to have someone who at least cared about the people. Whether or not his policies would have worked, to me, is irrelevant. I've never seen someone run for office that actually was for the people.
Yeah, that's the key, for the people.
That's right. And so we missed our opportunity, we missed our window, and now America gets what it deserves.
Hadn't thought about that ever, and I would say 50% of the media time should be given to nonprofits that we vote for in the elections to say, I like this animal rescue place, I like this tree planting place, and we vote every election to decide which organizations that are doing good stuff. Right now we are sold a bucket of crap in many cases. There's really good stuff out there, but there's a lot of crap.
I think that like a few things that we could do is to make more homeless shelters to support people who are able to afford housing and stuff like that. Because if you go into Denver, you can see a lot of people just on the street. I'd probably really want to ensure that everyone has access to abortions. That's probably what I'd do. If I had one choice,
I would probably try to implement some sort of like proportional representation, ranked choice voting. I think the two-party system is
Ranked choice, indeed.
pretty harmful there. So like both of those combined could be good. I guess that's one. Another one would be like bringing power to the people.
Take out the mass corporations and go back to mom and pop. Not take them out like that, take them out. They need to go on to their little islands and leave us alone and let us get back to being the people we're supposed to be.
Well, Boulder certainly brought us some colorful characters, looking at things from some very interesting angles. It's pretty amazing how many different ways people see the problems that we're having and all the different ways that they can see to have a solution. I think the more perspectives that we hear, the better we're able to understand each other, and maybe you'll find something that you hadn't thought of before. Like, subscribe, answer the questions below, and we'll see you next time.